Ankle, try naikkan. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Okay, bismillah. Okay, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We do our dua. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi fi kulli lahadatin abada ala ni'amillahi wa afdalihi. Allahumma atina min ladunka rahmah wa alimna min ladunka ilma subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nawayna ta'alluma wa ta'lim wa tadhakkura wa tadhkir والنفع والانتفاع والإفادة والاستفادة والحث على التمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم ودعاء إلى الهدى ودلالة على الخير ابتغاء وجه الله ومرضاته وقربه وثوابه سبحانه وتعالى مع لطف وعافية برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إنا نسألك علم لدني ومشرب صافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علم لدني ومشرب صافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك العلم لدني ومشرب صافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم ألهمنا علما نفقه به أوامرك ونواهيك وارزقنا فهما نعرف به كي نناجيك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إنا نسألك فهم النبيين وحفظ المرسلين وإلهام الملائكة المقربين في عافية يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم أغننا بالعلم وزينا بالحلم وأكرمنا بالتقوى وجملنا بالعافية يا أرحم الراحمين. آمين. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم إنا نستودعك ما قرأناه وما نقرأه في هذا المجلس وما قبله وما بعده فاحفظه علينا حتى ترده إلينا وقت احتياجنا إليه يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم أكرمنا بنور الفهم وأخرجنا من ظلمات الوهم وافتح لنا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا حكمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. آمين. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم يا من مقاليد الأمور كلها بيده وإليه يرجع الأمر كله يا فتاح يا عليم يا فتاح يا عليم يا فتاح يا عليم افتح علينا فتحا قريبا. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي وسدد لساني واهدي قلبي وافعل كذلك بأحبابي أبدا. وارزقنا كمال فتوح العارف والفقه في الدين مع كمال الإخلاص والصدق واليقين والعافية والغنى والنصر والحفظ والنفع والانتفاع وخير الدارين وعلوم الأولين والآخرين. آمين. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. آمين. الفاتحة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم وغير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين آمين آمين. You can sit on the couch if you want. You can sit there. No one's everyone avoiding the the cushion. Okay, bismillah, bismillah. Those online, if anybody can help me share the PDF, that'd be nice. If anyone has a PDF, and can share the PDF. Okay, okay, we're continuing with our class. So we are at ورضي ورضينا للقرآن إماما. Right, so we were there and we're also finishing off that part, right, about the Quran. And about the Quran, there's a lot of kalam, a lot of things to be said about the Quran and its importance. Book sent by Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Right, and so last week I was speaking about the rights of the Quran, right, and so it is on everyone's. It is on every believer, right, every Muslim, to first and foremost have a full belief, a full yaqeen, right, in whatever the Quran says is correct. Right, it is true, it is correct. Alhamdulillah. Right, and then to honor, to love it, right, to obey the Quran. Right, so of course, understanding Islam, you can learn Islam in any language, right, and that's why Islam is universal. Islam can be learned by any Muslim in any language. But to go deep into the sciences of Islam, you require Arabic. Arabic is needed if you want to go into the deep. My kittens. The deep. I can't put them in the toilet. Because I was afraid if anybody here is scared of cats. I was scared somebody might come and they're scared of cats, and I can't handle the cat. So I put them in the. I lock them up. No, are you scared of anyone here scared of cats? Are you nervous? No, no, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Let them be, let them be. It's okay. They're fine. They're fine. It's just that they like people. So and when they hear there's people around, they will cry because they want to come and be with their friends. they're very social. They're very social. So it's not they're not suffering or anything. They just they just want to play. Yeah, they want to play. Their children want to play. So they're kittens. But they're not suffering. Alhamdulillah, they're fine. They're fine. They're not suffering. Alhamdulillah. Just heard voices. Yeah. Now skin. Mashallah. So it is for us to, so Islam, while it can be learned by any language, right, any culture, right, to study it. If you want to study Islam, you have to have Arabic. Like Islam cannot be studied in depth without the Arabic language, right? But just enough to get by in this life, to learn your tazkiyah, learn your fardu ain, you can do it any language, mashallah. So the Quran itself, right, to be able to understand the Quran properly, right, there has to be an embarkment on the Arabic language. You must, right, if you really want to understand the Quran properly, right? So it's not possible lah. It's not possible at all, right? For a person, in fact, there was once, I think it was in Singapore somewhere, whereby there was a teacher, an ustad, who was doing tafsir. I think it was in Malaysia. My brother mentioned this to us. It was in Malaysia. There was an ustad who was doing tafsir in the masjid, right? And he was doing his tafsir, right? When one of the students asked about a particular ayat, the ustad said, "Oh, I don't know Arabic." And then you can't do tafsir if you don't know Arabic. You cannot. Tafsir is tafsir. Right? You can't teach tafsir, even if the lesson is in English or Malay. Right? You must know Arabic. You can't even begin to talk about and comment about the ayat. Right? So they're like, you don't know Arabic? Yeah, I'm just reading from the English tafsir or the Malay tafsir, just reading from there. Right? But no. No. The Quran is Arabic. The Quran is Arabic. Whatever is translated is an interpretation of the Quran. It's not even a translation, because the Quran cannot be translated. Mustahil. Impossible for the Quran to be translated. It is an interpretation of the translator's knowledge of that verse, understanding of the verse. It goes back to the translator himself, of his understanding on that verse. Right? So which is why a lot of things have been misunderstood by people who open the Quran and read the translation without a teacher. There has to be a teacher. Right? So while there are people who have come into Islam just by reading the translation, and that is from Allah's barakah and Allah's rahmah and Allah's hidayah that He gives it to them. If they want to study the Quran, you can't just open up a translation and read it like how you read a book. It's going to be a lot of fitna for people, because you will see that the Quran goes from topic to topic to topic to topic. It's really like you won't know what the flow of discussion unless you have a teacher who can bring you through it, line by line. Right? So this is the beauty, the most beautiful thing about the Quran, that it forces you to have a teacher. You're forced to. So I had one student. Some time ago, right? She was questioning lah, in a not in a pleasant way lah, quite rude, like questioning. Right? Why is it that the Quran is not accessible to just anyone? She was questioning in that way because the Quran is in Arabic, it's locked in Arabic. So to her, it's a deficiency in Islam that our book, the Quran, right, you need to study it. Right? Not just anyone can pick it up and learn it. Right? Then I said to her that wouldn't it show that it's not a proper text, it's just anybody can pick it up and learn it? Right? What kind of knowledge would allow for anyone to pick up and learn it? Right? You won't say medicine, you just pick up a book and learn it like that, right? You can't do that. Right? So it actually shows the seriousness of the matter, and it shows also that there is a legitimate matter, is something that is real and true. Right? So of course you need a teacher to bring in, and the way Allah is mercy. And of course, I think some Kak Salama, she ordered sagu. Apa khala pula khala. Yeah, I can give it out here. Khala Salama ordered sagu for people in the class. Yeah, mashallah. It was supposed to be at her house, and I sprained my ankle. I came here, and then she sent it over. Someone sent it over. Mashallah. So it's all you can eat it out if you want. You can. You think it's chilled, right? She bought it chilled, so it's nice and chilled. Or can bring it home. It's up to you. Okay. Now, right. So she was like upset that the Quran is not accessible to just anyone. Because I said to her that you need to learn Arabic language and you need to go with a teacher. And then she's like, why must I learn Arabic? Like, why? Why can't it just be in English? Why didn't I said people are very, how do you answer them? Like, why did Allah reveal the Quran in Arabic, such a foreign language? I mean, Allah knows the languages in the world. Allah knows what He has created. And Allah knows the Arabic language is the only language that can carry the Quran. No other languages can carry the Quran. Allah knows all these things, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And of course, Allah doesn't have to answer to us saying, why must it be in, if it's in English, somebody will say, why is it not in French? Why is it in English? It's never ending. But what Allah has done is Allah has given us intellects. Allah gave us brains. You learn the Quran. Khalas. Don't say, why is it not in my language? Learn the language. What's stopping you? Right? Allah give you the tools to do it. Just learn it. Right? Instead of saying, you want things to be easy for you, mashallah. Right? So anyway, every believer, right, I should embark on a relationship with the Quran. Right? And have full rida with what the Quran says. Everything in the Quran have full rida. Okay, alhamdulillah. We're continuing. Right? So bil Ka'batil Qibla. Actually, the other day, I think 2 days ago, Habib Omar, or 3 days ago, Habib Omar commented on this in his Dars Fajr. He did comments on this entire part of Raditu Billahi Rabba, the Islam Deen, and Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. In his Dars Fajr, I think it was on a Monday, because I remember I heard it. Yeah, I was thinking it was Monday. He commented on it because I know I went to class and I said to the kids, to the girls in the class, because I was teaching them this book. And I was saying this morning Habib Umar spoke about it, right, about Raditu Billahi Rabba, Islam Deen, Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam wa Rasulah, and he commented, right, to have rida of Allah as your Lord is about the decree of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, His irada, His will. And then if Islam Dina is about the Sharia, right, to have rida with the Sharia. He mentioned that. And with regards to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that you don't want anybody else's sunnah or any other way in this world except for his way, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And then with the Quran, that you even having rida with the Quran being in Arabic, is part of raditu bil Qur'ani imama. That means I have full rida. However Allah revealed the Quran, I have rida with it. That Allah has placed it on us to recite the Quran in tajweed. So I will not fight this. I know of Muslims who refuse. I know why. I've heard of Muslims. They refuse to read the Quran in tajweed, and they ruin it for everybody. I can you imagine if someone read the Quran, that's how you read Arabic. Like it in a sense, like it's so much. We say it's so zalim, right, towards the Quran. It's so unjust towards the Quran to like butcher the tajweed that is there. The tajweed is to make it beautiful. Right? And Rasulullah said in the hadith, Zayyinul Qur'ana bi aswatikum. Right? Beautify the Quran with your voices. That is wajib, fardu ain. Right? Fardu ain to apply tajweed. To apply tajweed in your qira'ah is fardu ain on every person. To learn the terminologies of tajweed, fardu kifayah. Right? Terminology, that means, idgham bi ghunna, and iqlab, and so on and so on. That one is fardu kifayah. Right? But to actually apply it, as you recite it, wajib, ain, on everybody. Everybody, no one can recite Surah Fatiha without the tajweed of Surah Fatiha. It is not allowed. Subhanallah. Right, mashallah. And that is having rida. That the Quran calls for us to beautify our voices. The Quran calls for us to recite it only in the Arabic language. Right? I know in the past, when Kamar took over Turkey, they changed everything into Turkish is the very dark history of Turkey. He refused Arabic, and he only allowed for the people to have Quran in Turkish. This is all asking for la'nah. It's all la'nah onto them because of them, changing the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So nobody can say that, so, and even, people would be so, some of the ulama, right? They're so particular that when they quote the Quran in English or in Malay or in other languages, right? They will say it is mentioned in the Quran, of the understood meaning. They're very particular of the interpreted meaning. So it's not that the Quran says. The Quran says, "Qul huwallahu ahad." That's what the Quran says. It did not say there is Allah, the one. The Quran never said that. The Quran, she said, "Qul huwallahu ahad." That is what the Quran said. So of the understood meaning or of the interpreted meaning, the Quran speaks about Allah being one. So there are some, I feel some, of the ulama, especially of the English side, they're very particular. The Quran did not say, in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. The Quran said, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. That one is the Quran. MashaAllah. And even then, with regards to the Quran, right, that what we understand is a manifestation of the Quran in this earth, on this earth. But what is really the Quran, you can never understand because it's kalamullah. It's the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which means that our minds cannot fully understand. As how we can never fully understand Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We can hardly understand, even not fully, hardly understand Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Same thing in the Quran, because the Quran is connected to the sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because it's from the Zat. The Quran is from the Zat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is connected to the sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there is no start to it. There is no end to it. It is not like the creation. So all we understand about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is the Quran also. So you say, I don't understand. That's precisely, you don't understand. You cannot understand. I say, I don't understand Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah, your mind cannot reach. Your mind cannot reach because why? Allah is creator, right? And you are creation. Quran is not creation. But Quran is it is connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is Allah's words. Full stop. Allah's words. Right? So you can't say, I don't understand what you mean by the Quran being, great, right? Beyond this mushaf. This is just a manifestation. It's a manifestation of what is on this earth. Right? But do I say the Quran is this book? No. I say it is a mushaf. Right? And by right, if to be correct in the Arabic language, you say hada mushafi. That is my mushaf. You don't actually say Qur'ani. Right? You don't actually say in Arabic. It sounds a bit weird. In English, you can say my Quran, right? In Arabic, it sounds very weird. Qur'ani, la Quran, kalamullah. Is al-Quran. I don't say Quran, Quranuna, Quran, Quranuki. Quranuka, you don't do that. Right? But you say mushaf. Mushafuki and mushafuka. You say mushaf, but you won't say Quran like that. Because no one owns the Quran. The Quran is Allah's word, subhanahu wa ta'ala. The story of Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal. And inshallah, if you all have time, like they have this series online. It's called the Al-Imam. And it's a live story of Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal. Right? And in this series, it's in Arabic, but there is translation at the bottom. There's an English text at the bottom, right? So it's a very nice series, mashallah, on the life of Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal. Right? In this entire, it's like, I think 30 episodes or something now, if you want to watch, right? But in the series, he actually addresses the Mu'tazila in his zaman. And this is something that inshallah we will speak about a bit because this Mu'tazila, right, this deviant group, they appear over and over again. In our time, they have appeared also. Since the zaman of the Sahaba, they appeared as a Khawarij, right? And then they were suppressed by the Sahaba, right? They were stopped. Then they appeared again as a Mu'tazila, right? And they were suppressed by the great Imams in the past. And they keep appearing. These people, they keep appearing even to our zaman, right? Amongst the Wahhabi sect, right? There are those who will take the understanding of the Mu'tazila. That means they give Allah jism. They give Allah like a physical being to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They put Allah in position. And that kind of thing, they go into a wrong aqidah. Right? So inshallah, when we speak about the story of Imam Ahmad, but basically, mashallah, Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, right? And it's serious, mashallah, they talk about Imam Shafi'i, they talk about Harun al-Rashid, they talk because they all live in the same era. They were all in the same, they met each other, basically. So it was said that, Imam Shafi'i, right, who's a teacher of Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, right? So he actually had a dream. I can find it in one of the books of Mustafa, Adila Al-Sunnah wal Jama'ah. And so Imam Shafi'i had a dream of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Rasulullah told Imam Shafi'i, send my salams to Ahmad, Imam Ahmad, right? And tell him, right, to be firm on what he knows, because he will be afflicted with a severe affliction. Right? They'll make him say what he knows is not true. And what was it? They tried to force him to say the Quran is created. Imam Ahmad was almost one of the very, very few ulama in his time who refused to say it, because he defended the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So many of the ulama, they don't believe it, but they submitted because the caliph at that time forced on them. Imam Ahmad, to the point whereby he was imprisoned, he was whipped, he was tortured, Ahmad bin Hanbal, right? Just because he refused to say the Quran is created. He refused it. SubhanAllah. So when Imam Shafi sent the message, he said, sorry about the barakah, inshallah. But he was going to send the message through a messenger boy. Right? The messenger went to Imam Ahmad and said that Imam Shafi'i says he had a dream of Rasulullah, and that Rasul sends salams to you, O Ahmad, right? And tells you to be firm. Don't give in. Be firm, right, on against what they say about the Quran. Then Imam Ahmad was so happy with the dream, right? Because you got salam from Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was so happy with the dream that he took off his cloak and he gave it to the messenger boy as a gift for the messenger, right? So when the boy went back to Imam Shafi'i said, because Imam Shafi'i is in Egypt, Imam Ahmad is in Basra, right? So Imam Shafi'i asked the messenger, what did Ahmad do? Says, Imam Ahmad gave me this cloak. He gave me, it's mine. He gave me this cloak. Then Imam Shafi'i said, let me see it. And then the messenger was like, no, he gave it to me. It's mine. He said, I know. Don't give it back to you. Don't worry. But I just wanted to take barakah from it. Right? So he took Imam Ahmad. Imam Shafi'i is a sheikh. Imam Shafi'i is a sheikh of Imam Ahmad, who's a tilmeeth, the student. Right? So Imam Shafi'i took the cloak of Imam Ahmad and dipped it in water. Right, and then give it back to the person, and he used that water for shifa. It is the understanding of Imam Shafi'i. It is not anybody. Right, so barakah from who? From his student. MashaAllah, Imam Ahmad. Right, because Rasulullah gives salam to Imam Ahmad. That means Imam Ahmad, MashaAllah, he is a level. MashaAllah. So he took barakah. There's one of the adilala in Al-Sunnah wal Jama'ah, whereby you can take barakah from those of our zaman. You can. You can go to the Hababa, you can take barakah of anything righteous, any person righteous, especially your parents. And sometimes you want to make it a point, your parents, your husband, or people around you, that you know how when we're here, right? If Hababa drinks from a drink, right, then everybody will drink from the water, right? Do you do it to your husband? Do it. Right, whenever he has to finish his food, I'll take his food, I'll eat his food. Hey, barakah, my husband. I mean, really, I would do it. My mother's food, my father's food, take the barakah of the people around you. Right? They take a barakah. I know of people of is all side track, but we'll come back to the topic, inshallah. Right? I know of Haba was mentioning people in Tarim, right? If they are the host, they will serve the food and they won't eat. Then when the guests go home, they eat the food of the guests. In our culture, they'll be like, oh, baqi. You like, in our culture, be like, this is like people's bekas or people's left behind. Right? They left behind all this food, right? Bekas. Right? For them, barakah, the barakah of the guest. The guest, the doif, right, has come to your house. So they will eat the remnants of the chicken or the rice, they'll eat the remnants. Because your husnuzon, right? Your good opinion of the, mashallah. and the Hababas will always say, is all your husnuzon of me that you want my drink. Habba Salma and Kaf, the time she was drinking some juice. And then there was a bit left behind. I said, Habba, can I have? And she said, you want more juice? And I said, no, just want your barakah. It's just your husnuzon with me. I don't know why you want my juice. And then she was like, I said, no, Baraka, Baraka. And then she was like, if you told me earlier, I'll leave a bit more behind for you all. You told me so late, because we left a bit left behind only. No, mashallah. And Mama, she's very cute. She was drank, and I'll come at this. She was drank tea. At first, it was hot, like hot milk tea. She said, Zen. Then she drank a bit. And she put it down. And then she was teaching us. Then she drank again. She was like, barit. And she was like, in kana har yadur, in kana barit mujze. I say, if it's warm, it does harm you to drink hot. And she put it there. That's why I eyeing lah. How's teas right there. And I said, Hava, can I have some of your tea? And she was like, it's so cold, it's not nice. I said, yeah, it's on your barakah. It's on your barakah. Right? And then she was like, Husuzon nikum. It's your husuzon on me. Up to you all. MashaAllah. But anyway, Imam Shafi'i took barakah from Imam Ahmad. And we entered that story because Imam Ahmad's trial was that they were they were trying to force people on the Mu'tazila belief. So there is a maqta, right? There is a video. I mean, amongst the series, there's one scene whereby the Khalifa calls Imam Ahmad in front of him, right? And the court is filled with Mu'tazila, leaders. Right, and so they question Imam Ahmad on every single thing, right, that is in the Quran to show that that the Quran is created. The Quran is not, kalamullah, is created. It's a creation of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Every single thing they you should see that. Inshallah, I'll shout out the video lah. Every single thing they questioned Imam Ahmad. Imam Ahmad had a beautiful response, mashallah, and mashallah, his knowledge is so wide that some of the Mu'tazila quoted hadith, and Imam Ahmad would say, first and foremost, your hadith quote is wrong. And then he goes to Imam Ahmad. And he corrects the hadith that the Mu'tazila quoted. And you quoted the hadith wrongly. There's a wrong quote. And there's no such hadith as that hadith you quoted. It goes like this. And then he quotes the correct hadith, mashallah. And he says, and this has a connection to this part of the Quran that you didn't know about. MashaAllah, this is called ilm, knowledge in the face of jahl. Right? After he slams down all of their arguments, right? To say the Quran is created. Imam Shafi'i, the same thing also. He said he had a meeting with Mu'tazila, and they kept, putting forward all the arguments of Imam Shafi'i, and Imam Shafi'i could answer all of them using Quran. And it's all like people geniuses, they're geniuses, and they're all also sincere to Allah. He could answer all of them, and they all kept quiet after the entire meeting. And then Imam Shafi'i got up and he says, may Allah give all of us guidance. And then he walked out. Right? Because they were all Ahl Fitnah. And then eventually Imam Ahmad, at the end of the he already silenced all of them. They have no dalil to say that the Quran is created. And then one of them said, but shouldn't we use our aql? Well, Imam Ahmad was like, what? Are you seriously saying that to me? Your aql above the Quran and Sunnah? Are you seriously? He says, gharib sha'nuk. In the gharib sha'nuk. Like, your matter is so strange. As a Muslim, you put your aql above the nas. I mean, you put your mind, your aql above Quran and Sunnah. As a dalil, strange. You're a Muslim. Are you a Muslim? Subhanallah. He was so appalled by what this person said, the Mu'tazila. That's how they went astray. They placed their minds as their leaders, right? And not the should earn the same thing. That makes no sense. Right? If you implement this in society, you will have a mediocre, lousy society. No one's gonna strive to be excellent because no more pay. That means there's no incentive, right? So in Islam, it's about merit. You strive hard, you go higher. Even if you're ibadah, you strive hard, you go higher. Alhamdulillah. Right? So anyway, all these ideologies can right now they are bringing this in this Mu'tazila, right? It destroys society. It destroys. There's only one ideology that we need, and that is the Sunnah of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Right? Full stop. Full stop. Until the end of time, do not is one of the warnings in Fiqh. One of the warnings: do not embrace any ideology till the end of time. Yakfina radina bil Islami dina. The khalas. Radina bil Islami dina. Full stop. Right. So we're gonna ask one of the teachers. So Maryam Haida asked her about feminism. Right? And she said that why do you need feminism in Sayyidah Fatima az-Zahra? Like, where does feminism stand? Like, feminism, la. Right? Because why? And I said, well, they have some ideas in there that's might be true, might be correct. He says, yes, but there's shar in there as well. There's evil in there as well. Why not go for someone who's purely good? In the Sayyidah Fatima, in the Khadijah, in the Aisha, you're not lacking there. There's no lack there. Subhanallah. Now, why must you take all these other ideas out there? As if you're seeking the truth, but the truth is in front of you, you're a Muslim. Right? This is why the non-Muslim world, yes, they are searching for ideologies for them to hold on to what is correct, what is the best to live life, what is the best of government, what they will have these kind of things. Even with their, ilmun al-nafs, right? When you want to learn about the self, psychology, about behavior patterns and so on, they're just groping in the dark because there's no light of hidayah of the Prophet. We have that in front of us. Right? The non-Muslims are searching, how do we cure emotional imbalance? How do we cure mental imbalance? How do we cure, and they have all kind of things going on with them. We all, alhamdulillah, right? Qur'an, zikr, sunnah, all of these things. You just do what the Prophet say, you will be cured truly, fully. Subhanallah. Right? But unfortunately, the Muslims are looking at what the non-Muslims are searching about. And we have the answer right in front of us. MashaAllah. But our yaqeen is not strong in that answer. MashaAllah. Right? So there's one story about Imam Ahmad now. Go on to the Imam Ahmad, MashaAllah, if you go to his stories, he really, mashallah, he was in the time where it was very hard. But there's one story, I think I shared before, but I don't remember, whereby he's in the prison, right? Because they imprisoned. He was only him and his friend. There were two of them last standing ulama who refused to say the Quran is created. Right? The others, they were forced into it. They didn't believe it, but they were forced into it. So they would say it, right? Taking the dalil of that they are being forced. So karaha, right? So it was forced on them. So it's not a sin on them, right, in a sense, because they were forced, right? Because they were threatened, right? Imam Ahmad and one of his very close friends, both of them refused. They refused to give in. So eventually they were brought to be imprisoned, right, by the caliph. They were imprisoned. His friend passed away. Like, along the way, he passed away. So Imam Ahmad was alone in the prison, whereby he was imprisoned. And then when he was in this prison, and they kept him there to force him to say the Quran is created, he refused. So while in the prison, he began to do halaqah. So the ulama, wherever they go, they will make a ma'had. And there's how the habaib here, same thing, right? And Habashu will say the habaib here, when the communists took them into the prisons, they made a ma'had in the prison. They made an institution of knowledge. It became a ribat, right in the sijin, right? Because and then they make everybody pray tahajjud, jemaah, they do aurat. They were like, you have a full Mustafa going on inside the prison, because one person can carry it. I mean, the imam can carry it. He brings everybody on the path, mashallah. So, and there were all the people of the prison who became his students later on. They were very close to Imam Ahmad because he met them in the prison. So there was one time he was teaching a hadith now. He was narrating hadith because their ilm also is all here in their heart, in their mind. They don't need a book. Even they're writing books. They're writing out books from themselves, right, in the prison. MashaAllah. So he was he had a halaqa, hadith halaqa. He would narrate hadith to the prison mates. MashaAllah. And then so MashaAllah. So there was one time whereby after the class he was talking to one of his prison mates, and then he was saying to him that he fears, right, that they are going to do something worse to him, because now being in prison seems to have no effect on him, because to him now he has even more time. So some of the prison wardens, the guards, actually like him, like Imam Ahmad, and they would sneak paper to him with pen and they write his entire books, like, while he is in prison. He write books, got so much time, right? So you sit there and write books. MashaAllah. So the prison wardens were actually helping out. They were sneaking in pages, paper to write on books. So and they were telling him that they heard that the Khalifa is getting very impatient with Imam Ahmad. He's not giving in. So they heard that he might be whipped and forced into saying the Quran is created. Whipped, And so whipping is really it will split the skin, and the way they whip, and the blood is really painful, and they will whip on top of the whip. Right? So where the skin has split the whip there, right? It's just on the back of Imam Ahmad. Right? So Imam Ahmad said to one of the prison mates that he was very worried about this, because he knows that with prison he can take it, because it's just sitting there. Right? You can take it. Just resist. But he said he's afraid. Right? It's all from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said he's afraid that as they whip him and the pain is unbearable, he's afraid he might say what they want. He's afraid. Right? And then the prison mate he said to him, "Oh Imam, do you know why I am in prison?" Right? And they say, "Why? Why are you in prison?" He said, "Because I used to be a highway robber. And as a highway robber, they whipped me. When they caught me, they whipped me. Right? If I can stand the whip for the sake of shaitan," because of the highway robber, right? You can, and you, Imam Ahmad, can't stand the whip for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Say, "Ana fi sabili shaitan." I take the whip, and you fi sabilillahi ta'ala la taqdir. You cannot take it. You can take it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I could do it for shaitan. You could do it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then they made Imam Ahmad feel like, encouraged. He took it. They whip him. They whip to force him. Then eventually one of the guards couldn't take it. One of the guards actually went out to the people, and because it was all done behind closed doors, so the people didn't know. Imam Ahmad is a well-loved imam by the people, but it's a people's imam. So the guard actually told the people outside. Right? So it was pub pressure. Right? They went outside of the gates of the court lah, right? And they chanted from outside. They were chanting, "Stop! To stop! Stop!" They were calling out. So that I think the Khalifa grew scared. So public pressure can really work. Public pressure. The public put pressure, right, on the leadership, and they stopped. They stopped it. Like my mama was flat at the back. Like they whipped him. He held strong, inshallah. Why? For the Quran. Right? And in fact, there was one of his students that said to him, or one of the guards said to him, right, that Imam, just do what the rest have done. The rest have just given in. Like Ammar bin Yasir. Ammar bin Yasir said, words of kufr to escape from Abu Jahl. Like Ammar bin Yasir, do like what he did. And Ammar said, we're not the same. Because me, I am Ahmad bin Hanbal. If I say something, you know and I know I don't mean it. But those thousands of people out there, do they all know I don't mean it? Or will they write it down in their books and spread it? That Imam Ahmad said Quran is created. So he said, Mas'ul is a responsibility. I am an imam of this ummah. If I say something, even though I know I don't mean it, there are thousands of people listening to my word. I can't say it. They say that Ammar bin Yasir is different. Say that Ammar bin Yasir is a Sahabi of the Sahaba. Rasul is there as the authority. So Rasul's word, his word stands. Imam Ahmad was the Imam of the Ummah in his time. His word will stand. Responsible. It's not the same. It's not the same. He's not awam. He's not awam. He's alim. He cannot say it. It's his responsibility. Right? So he stopped himself from saying it because in case someone wrote it and said, Imam Ahmad said this and then spread it. Mashallah, they all have very deep understanding of things, right? So they don't give it, mashallah. The next part is وَبِالْكَعْبَةِ الْقِبْلَةِ Allahumma sayyidina Muhammad, Ya Allah. The Imams of the past, mashallah, learn their stories. They have such amazing strivings, the way of Islam. وَبِالْكَعْبَةِ الْقِبْلَةِ and the Kaaba as our direction of the prayer, right? The secret house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that was built by Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam and son Nabi Ismail alayhi salam. It is the first house built on the earth for worship. Right? The Qibla is the direction to face when praying the 5 compulsory prayers, to exalt it and glorify it and perform the Hajj to it. Right? It is in Makkah, the noble Makkah al-Mukarramah. It unites the whole ummah from past to present, and it symbolizes a legacy of complete submission to Allah's commandments, mashallah. And there's a whole thing about the Kaaba. The first one to build it was Nabi Adam alayhi salam with the angels. Then it was destroyed in the flood of Nabi Nuh, and then it was rebuilt by Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam, and then it was destroyed again by the Quraysh in the time of Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to rebuild it. They brought it down, they tore it down from Nabi Ibrahim's time. There was thousands of years. The Kaaba stood from Nabi Ibrahim's time. So eventually it was just it was breaking down, down. There was a flood, there was a fire, there was a lot of things. And the Kaaba was collapsing. So in Rasulullah's time, in the year that Sayyidah Fatimah Zahra was born, some say the day that she was born, right? That they actually tore down the Kaaba to its asas, right? To its foundation that Nabi Ibrahim had laid, right? And the same foundations that Nabi Adam laid. So when Nabi Adam was brought to the place of the Kaaba, the angels showed him, here's the Kaaba. So it's from Nabi Adam alayhi salam, right? So that is what haqq is, truth is all the way from the beginning. So you don't say that anything from Rasulullah is new. No, it's not new. It's from the beginning. The Nabi Adam performed the Hajj, and every prophet performed the Hajj. So when we perform Hajj, we link our hands, our arms with these people. Right? It's a legacy of human beings submitting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Some of the things I was saying this morning, I was talking to Anissa about it, because when we write our book for the primary schoolers, I have this series, the Wheel of Islam series. So right now I'm writing for the primary 6B. Right? So I was saying to her that I'm still writing. I'm on my way. I'm getting there. The A has been done for quite some time. I'm going to redo the A also. A lot of mashallah things to do. But anyway, for the primary 6, I was saying to her that as we introduce topics to them, right, to bring them deeper into understanding. They're 12-year-olds. So with the Hajj topic, right, it's under fiqh. So the original books, right, will explain what is Hajj, what is Umrah, what is Ziyarah. It is all fiqh, right, very, very clear text. Then now I'm putting in a new section, right, that is called Let's Understand Deeper, right, for the children, because they're 12 years old. I want them to appreciate this religion. So we began the chapter by saying, we know Islam has 5 pillars. And we've just gone through them, the 5 of them. Okay, Shahada is our entire life. Right, the Shahada is your whole life. Your whole life is based on La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. The Salat is our connection to Allah. It's personal. Us and Allah. It's our lifeline. We live on the Salat. It's really our lifeline. Without Salat, we die. Right, Salat. Zakat is our love for the people, the community. Allah makes us, He forces us. We like it or not, you're forced to zakat, to connect with the community and care. You're forced to care right, about the poor. You cannot be indifferent. Islam does not allow indifference towards the poor. Right? This is wajib, this is all arkanul Islam. Right? And then fasting. Right? Fasting is the control of the nafs. So fasting goes against stopping negative things. Because it's positive, because Salah is positive, Zakat is positive, that means it's a positive action. Fasting is a negation, whereby you stop the shahawat, you stop the desires. So fasting from stopping something so natural like eating and drinking, From there, stopping the tongue from speaking, from saying haram, stopping the eyes, stopping the heart from thinking bad things. So fasting is taqwa. It's about taqwa. It's stopping the self fasting. So that's the four that we know. Then now what is Hajj about? That's what I was writing this morning. Last night, this morning, I was writing about this. So asking the kids at 12 years old, what's the Hajj about? Like, why is Hajj one of the arkan? Right? So we know Salat, lifeline, right? My connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Zakat, my connection to the community. Right? Islam is communal. Fasting is me stopping my desires, control, because Islam teaches control. And then what is this Hajj about? So Hajj is connecting to a legacy of people who submit to Allah. You're connecting your hands, your heart, yourself. You're part of this line of great group of people, from Nabi Adam to Nabi Ibrahim to Nabi Muhammad, every human being in between, right, who submitted. So it's a great matter. It's a Hajj and Umrah, it's a great matter. You connect to them. At the same time, Hajj and Umrah, it shows you, it makes you connect to the Muslims of your time. Because when you go for Hajj, you will see the poor, you will see the illiterate Muslim, you will see all kinds of Muslims, and majority of them are, you would say, on the lower end of the economy, of the economy. Right? Majority of the Muslims, right, are poor. Majority, very small minority are rich. Majority of Muslims are poor. Majority of Muslims they can't write, right, from the countries around. And a lot of them is their one and only trip, right, to Mecca and Medina. For majority of them. Right? So what does Hajj do to us? Hajj makes us aware of the entire ummah of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Now you see the ummah in front of you. When you go for Hajj, you go for Ummah, you see the ummah in front of you. MashaAllah. So Islam does not allow people to be selfish and be away from everybody else. No. Islam makes you be selfless. You have to be with the people. And no matter what, you must tawaf, you must tawaf. You don't like the smells of people, too bad. You must stand there and you must just breathe everybody in, right? And be with the people. You got, oh no, I'm rich, I'm upper class, I'm whatever. No, sweaty, you're gonna be down there. Right? All the men in ihram, all be in ihram. Doesn't matter. Right? Allah does not allow for anyone to have some form of, like, privileged upper class tawaf. There's no first class tawaf. Right? Tawaf is all down. The closer you are to the Kaaba, the better. It's faster. MashaAllah. Arafah, everybody gonna be there. Arafah, you want to be on Jabal Rahmah, squeeze lah. You go up on Jabal Rahmah and you can squeeze on the Jabal Rahmah. You want to go for Mina, be with the crowd. Right? Stone the pillar with the crowd. Right? The Jamrah. You can't say, oh, I am a president, I'm a king, I'm whatever. No, doesn't matter. Everybody go together. Go together, everybody. So mashallah, the Hajj pillar is really, it does things to you. Humbles you, and you really see the ummah as they are. MashaAllah. Right, so this is the Kaaba Qibla. Right, so it is humility, right, to the Sharia of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Right, this was a big test on the Yahudi, right, because they knew that the sign of the end of time, and the sign of the last prophet, right, is that he would change the Qibla. So for as long as Rasulullah was not changing the Qibla, they were happy actually, because sign is not the last prophet. Right? So when he changed the Qibla eventually, they began to slander Rasulullah, saying, what kind of prophet is this? One day pray this way, one day pray that way. And they were saying all kinds of things. And Allah says in the Quran, Allah called them sufaha. And what has made them change from the Qibla? But Allah says they know it. They know it's going to be changed. So when it was changed, it was a big blow on them, because now the last sign has come out. Right? The last prophet will change the Qibla. MashaAllah. But they were slandering us. So inshallah, next lesson we'll continue from there. Mu'minina ikhwana. This one, last one is very, very much, very, very beautiful, the last part. Because yesterday one of my sister-in-law was telling me about her daughter, Noha. Like the way girls are, they play with their friends, then they see they're not friends anymore. Then they play, not friends anymore. Then they want to go to this person's house. Then why la woman like? It's a girl thing. The boys never have it, The girls have it. Hey, friend don't friend, friend don't friend, friend don't friend. And she said, how do I talk to my daughter? She said, how to talk to my daughter about this with everybody. Right? Don't block people. Right? Don't cut off people. And I said to her, very easy. Tell her, right, in the grave, the angel will say, Man ikhwanuk. Who are your brethren? If you were mean or cold to a Muslim in this world for no reason at all, because don't friend, how are you going to answer al-Muslimin? How are you going to answer al-Muslim? The Muslims are my friends. The Muslims are my brothers. The Muslims. When I say to her, always remind yourself that the fact Allah gave someone La ilaha illallah, the very fact Allah gave someone La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah is enough for you to fight your nafs and to love that person. Because Allah loved that person enough to give them the shahada. And so who are you not liking people? Right, go on disliking people. Right, Allah give them shahada. Khalas. You silence your nafs. Say, oh nafs, keep quiet. Like so and so, you better fight yourself. You fight yourself. Right? And you identify this person has been given the shahada, that means Allah honors that person with the shahada. Who are you not to honor that person? So you score yourself in that way. But inshallah, let's go to the what will be ikhwana. It's a lot to say, ikhwan, inshallah. Okay, خلينا الفاتحة. صلى الله عليه وسلم الفاتحة. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. صلى الله عليه وسلم محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. آمين.